Nga Agahon, coming to you live from Numancia, Aklan, in Western Visayas in the Philippines. I'm having my morning cup of coffee, my coffee with Gino cup here. My Copico Blanca. Copico Blanca is my choice of 3-in-1 coffee here in the Philippines. It's coffee, cream, and sugar, powder form, all in one. You put it in your cup, add hot water, and you have a nice cup of coffee. Really inexpensive here in the Philippines. I can get 10 packs of this Copico Blanca for 80 pesos, about $1.50, $1.75. 10 packs of these for about $1.75. Let me just make sure I'm online here. All right, looks like I'm online. All right. I started a little early today. I usually start after 7, 7:30 after I take Leanne at school. But no school. No school today. It's Sunday here. Uh, all right, looks like I'm online here. Looks like I'm online here. All right, all right. So I decided to just start early. I do have some topics to discuss today. I tried to have news articles, different topics here in the Philippines that I know people might be interested. Um, for people that are just tuning in to the channel, my name is Gino. Dazzle TV is our channel. I've been living here in the Philippines the last 15 years. I'm retired United States Air Force, military in the United States. Last 15 years retired here in Aklan province and just enjoying life here. And what I try to do is I try to help people come here to realize their dream here in the Philippines of retiring here. Any assistance I can give, I do that. And also just show day-to-day life here in the Philippines. All right, let me start with the weather. I always start with the weather. People are always interested regarding the weather here in the Philippines. Today, this morning, it's 72 degrees Fahrenheit. It rained actually this morning, but now it's all dried up. Looks like the sun is coming up now, burning through the clouds. So it's going to be another warm day. But it did rain earlier. I'd say about 4 a.m. It did rain. It's now 6:35 a.m. here. So, and it says here on the AccuWeather, cloudy, brief showers in the morning. Sure enough, that happened this morning here in Numancia, Aklan, and a couple of thunderstorms in the afternoon. So we might get thunderstorms in the afternoon, but it's to me it already feels like summer. It's really hot during the day now. Creeping up to like 90 degrees during the day, the hottest. So far, I think I recorded like 89 degrees Fahrenheit as being the hottest so far. But we're gonna hit the 90s and even the hundreds here pretty soon here in our province of Aklan. And Aklan province, like I mentioned on my intro, it's located in Western Visayas. The Philippines, you got Luzon, in the north, the Grupo Islands, Visayas in the middle, which we belong to here in Aklan province. Our province here is known for Boracay. Boracay Island is in our province of Aklan, and then Mindanao. So 3 big sets of groups of islands here. Luzon, Visayas in the middle, and in the south, Mindanao. So as that's the weather report regarding AccuWeather. The Pag-asa. Pag-asa is the weather, the government agency here in the Philippines that is in charge of weather here in the Philippines. It's called Pag-asa, Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration. Whew, that's a long one. That's a long one. Pag-asa, Pag-asa. Pag-asa in Filipino language, in Tagalog, Pag-asa means hope. HOPE, hope. So they came up with the Pag-asa name, the abbreviation Pag-asa. Just says here pretty much the whole country Cagayan, Apayao, that's like in northern Luzon, eastern Visayas, Surigao, Quezon, Mindoro, Marinduque, Metro Manila, the rest of Luzon, rest of the country, partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated light rain. So it's just a light rain. We're out of the typhoon season. Right now, we're pretty much getting into the summer. This is summer in the Philippines. March, especially April and May, the hottest time in the Philippines, almost like drought conditions in the Philippines come April and May. And then towards the end of June, you start feeling the rain coming in. And then July to December, it's like typhoon season here in the Philippines. So that's the Pag-asa report. I'm trying to do reports of different things that I know people are interested here in the Philippines. The peso, the dollar to the Philippine peso exchange rate, it closed yesterday at 59.02. So we're above 59 again. I think the record, the all-time record for the dollar against the Philippine peso is like 59.4 something, you know. So we're only like 0.40 cents, yeah, Filipino cents in to hit the all-time high. So we are nearing the all-time high again for the dollar to Philippine exchange. All right, I see some comments. Hey, good morning, Colonel. Good morning, all sports fans. Colonel always says sports fans. Maybe he hasn't had this Copico Blanca yet. Maybe the Colonel hasn't had this Copico Blanca. J-Boy, good morning, Brother Gino. Hey, J-Boy, thank you for joining the live stream. Hey, Brian, all right. My brother in Galveston County, Texas. Good morning. Hey, Bizwax, my brother in Davao City in the Philippines. Jokano, good morning, Jokano. I started early today. Mom and Leanna didn't actually wake up. I don't know if they slept in because this is usually their church. I usually take them to church early in the morning. So maybe they're going to the afternoon service instead of the early morning service. Maybe they stayed up late last night. Me, man, I was in bed by 7 p.m. last night. So I didn't know what was going on. I was just tired yesterday. There are days like that for me where, man, like after I eat my dinner, like I always take my dinner 5:30 p.m. early dinner, and then for some reason after my dinner I was just like sleepy. I told Dazzle, babe, I'm going to bed early, and by 7, maybe even before 7 p.m. I was out, and then I didn't wake up till about 3 a.m. this morning. I was like lost. I didn't even know what time it is. I'm like looking for my phone, trying to figure out where I'm at. You know, I was like completely out. AP Nahart from Ocean, my sister in Oceanside, California. Hello, Sister Pinay Hart. Colonel, good morning. Sports, there you go, Colonel. So you had your Copico Blanca, Colonel. You had your Copico Blanca, man. Hello, Colonel Biswag, Pinay Hart. Good morning from Dallas, Texas. All right. I have a lot of viewers from Texas here, you know, Texpat. I know my other friend Alan. There's just a bunch of people from Texas here. I used to live in Texas. I got stationed in San Antonio, Texas from 1995 to 1999. I remember when Tim Duncan got drafted by the Spurs. They used to play in the Alamo Dome. I saw many games at the Alamo Dome. I enjoyed my time. In San Antonio, Texas. And my sister lives in Houston, Texas. We always communicate. I was just talking to my sister yesterday. We try to keep, you know, she keeps me updated on stuff in the Houston, and I keep her updated as stuff here in the Philippines. Our time is about to change at 0. Yeah, I heard about that. I'll figure it out, Pinay Hart, once the time changes. I'm never good with time, you know. I'm never here in the Philippines. It doesn't change, but I know because of the time change in the U.S. your Pacific time, your Mountain, Central, Eastern. I mean, like, I got to start figuring out again what time it is in the U.S. because I do get phone calls all the time from U.S. I schedule calls with people. They want to do a video call with me. They want to almost sometimes like it's an interview for me and the person because they want to come here. So that's how I get to know people. I get to know what they're looking for, because it's just different each time. It's like I'm seeing more and more people though that seem like, especially the retired military, or they have gotten 100% VA disability from the military, young, in their 40s, early 40s, a lot of times, with kids. Lately, I've been getting more people in that situation contacted me and asking me, what do you think? How would it be in the Philippines if I had kids? If I'm bringing kids to the Philippines, usually it's a Filipina wife and then a military man. So they're really interested because of course the kids will be their priority. As far as education, and I always tell them, it's like I don't know where the notion came from that the education in the United States is better than education in the Philippines. I don't know who came up with that because I was born and raised in the Philippines. My elementary years were I studied at Letron College, kindergarten to grade 6. Letron College in Manila, private school in Manila, all boys Catholic school. And my education in my elementary years were a lot better than the 4 years of high school that I took when I went to the United States after I graduated elementary school here. I went to the U.S. and we can't afford, very few can afford private school in the United States. I mean, if you can afford it, great, right? But most people I know go to public school in the United States. And I did. I went to Long Beach, Wilson, in Long Beach, California. And my education in the Philippines gave me the foundation for the rest of my life. A lot better than the education that I got when I went to Long Beach, Wilson High. And I went to Long Beach, Wilson High, graduated in 1983. And from what I'm hearing now, it's more even chaos now, public schools in the United States. Because when I went to public school in the United States, I didn't worry about getting wanted, or going through like electric metal detectors for weapons. I did not have to worry about that when I went to high school back when I graduated in 1983. But now that's an issue, right? Kids going to high school now, you gotta like have security, you gotta wand them, you gotta make sure they're not bringing weapons, knives, anything that they can use in school. So I don't know where that notion came from that the U.S. has better education. You just have to find the right education. Now, most people that I know coming from America, when they move here to the Philippines, they got money. They can afford private schools here. So that's not an issue. They can afford going to the good schools here in the Philippines. Yes, if I have to compare public school in the United States compared to public school here in the Philippines, yes, I would probably say there are more better offered at public schools in the U.S. But the one thing that the public schools here offer here in the Philippines, I see it with Leanna. Leanna attends high school at Numancia Integrated School. The teacher, they might not get paid high, but man, these teachers care about their students, man. They have the national anthem of the Philippines, pledge allegiance to the Philippines. They pray at the beginning of school. They pray at the end of the school. The students are respect for their teachers. The teachers kind of rule, man. Public school, you don't want to act up in public school here in the Philippines because the teacher don't play here. So to me, that whole notion of school is better in the United States, it's a situation to situation, I think. But you can't make that blanket statement that if you educate your kids here in the Philippines, they would be at a disadvantage. I think they would be at an advantage here because they would grow up respectful of teachers, respectful for authority, respectful for their elders. You know, it's like I see the kids in the U.S. now, man. That's lost in a lot of kids in the U.S., unfortunately. Colonel, Copico Blanca soon. All right, right to Rojas City. All right, Colonel, safe travel to Rojas City. We will lose an hour of sleep. Oh man, me, I never lose sleep, man. Sleep is high priority for me, Pinay Heart, because you know I went through cancer and everything, and very important for me to like get 8 hours of sleep at night, naps during the day. It's part of my healing, part of my recovery. I'm hearing things. I think they're awake now. I think Leanna and Mom are awake. Hi.
Khalil is awake. Morning, Dad.
Oh, Khalil is awake. I already fed Khalil.
Nagbabark. Ilabas ko muna.
All right, you can. It's wet outside though. I wouldn't take him out because it's not dry. It's not dry.
Wow.
Yeah, it's okay here.
Gusto ko na muna. Gusto ko ng tawon.
Khalil wakes up in the morning, and the first thing Khalil wants to do is Khalil wants to go outside. But today it's wet. It's still wet outside, baby. So you can't go outside. Khalil, he is 4 months old. He's getting bigger. He's getting longer now. He's our Imperial Shih Tzu is what Khalil is. But you can't go outside yet, baby. You can't go out. You can't go out. He's like excited to go outside. This morning it rained. This morning, very like 4 a.m. it rained, but the sun is coming up now. So that's the first thing Khalil wants to do. Is like go play outside. So, but it's wet. It hasn't dried up yet. It'll dry up about an hour or 2 hours because the sun is coming up now. I have a crush name. Okay, maybe that's one of those K-pop. I don't know. I don't know all the K-pop. Leanna knows all about the K-pop. Pinay. Yep, private school is pricey. Also, public school here gets a lot of funding from federal and state. But just because the government funds them doesn't mean we get the best education. I remember Pinay Heart because like I said, I spent 4 years of high school in Long Beach Wilson High. Go Bruins, go Bruins. I graduated in 1983, and the education I got in Manila is a lot better than the education that I got at the 4 years of high school. Those classes, you know, some of the classes were like, I wasn't really learning much. When you go to a private school here in the Philippines, you know this, Pinay Heart, very strict, right? Very strict. You know, it's like each subject, we have assignments, we have quizzes, we have exams, very competitive at Letron College. So in the US, it was like, to me, it was like a cakewalk because, you know, for me, it seemed like if you attended class, you pass. You know, a lot of my classmates, they were concerned about their grades. A lot of them were just like showing up to like attendance. They just want to be there for attendance so they can pass the course, you know. The education, I think even back then at Long Beach, they were just trying to push through kids. You know, it's like they're not going to flunk you. If you're attending school in the US, I remember in California, I had classmates that, you know, would copy for me like on exams and stuff. And I'm like, dude, how did you get to like the 8th grade? How did you get to the 9th grade and you don't know this? You know, but, you know, that kind of thing. Charlie Letts, good morning, Charlie, my good friend in Boston, The law provides the appropriate education, not the best. We don't get to choose and pick what's best for a kid in public school. If we want great school, I understand. I mean, the only thing I really liked about public school, Pinay Heart, when I went to Long Beach was the free food. Man, I was amazed, man. You know, I get free lunch. for my classmates, of course, for them, they thought the cafeteria food were horrible. But for me, I'm eating spaghetti, I'm eating pizza, there's a fruit, there's a milk. You get milk. I was like, man, I never got that. Even the private schools in the Philippines, they don't feed you, man. Charlie Lads, what a good looking pup. How big is he able to get? Well, right now, the last weigh-in of 4 months, he was 1.48 kilograms, so about 3 pounds. I don't think he's going to get any more bigger. Maybe double, maybe 6 pounds. He's not going to get bigger. He's already 4 months, but we'll see. We'll see. It's supposed to be one of those miniature Shih Tzu. I don't think Dazzle even knew it was going to be a miniature. I think Dazzle thought it was just going to be a regular Shih Tzu. But she fell in love the minute he saw Kal-El. We found Kal-El on a Facebook Marketplace. There was a person in Calibo with a picture of Kal-El, and Dazzle said she had to have him. So we got him. We got Kal-El. I have a German Shepherd who's 3 years old, and she's stopped growing. Oh, okay, all right. We'll see, but I don't think he's gonna get any more bigger, man. It's like he's so light, He's so light. It's more hair, because when we give him a bath, I mean, there's barely anything. There's barely anything. Don't forget, America Education likes how to be woke and trans before parents' knowledge. Trying to do that. Well, I'm glad I never had to experience that, Pinay Heart, because I left America before all that. I left America 2011, so I didn't really experience the woke, all the trans, all that, and thank goodness I didn't have to experience that. All right, now the topics that I have in the news. I would say the biggest news here in the Philippines that I can report is the oil price hike. The price of gasoline here, I mean, just skyrocketed here in the Philippines. And I'm hearing same thing in the U.S., but maybe not as bad. Maybe not as bad in the U.S. From friends in California, friends of mine in Texas. But here in the Philippines, man, it just shot up, and I don't expect it to slow down. Like the price of gasoline, like per liter. Here they don't measure by gallon; it's per liter. I think there's about 4 liters to a gallon. About 1 liter of gasoline right now, it went up 13 pesos. I mean, so basically in right after they did the Middle East war, Iran war, here in Numancia, here in Aklan, it went from about 60 pesos per liter to 73 pesos. Man, that is insane. I haven't seen prices like that here since the pandemic. We did hit prices like that in the pandemic. Actually, I saw higher prices during the pandemic. It even reached 80 pesos to a liter. I was all happy because finally the prices of gasoline here got down to 57, 56 even. I was like, whoa, this is awesome, But now we're back in the 70s again. And I'm sure it's not going to stop rising because I guess a big portion of the gasoline that the Philippines get goes through that Hormuz, that passageway that's being blocked right now because of the war. There's no gas passing through that. So a big portion of gasoline that's headed our way here in the Philippines, it's not coming. It's not coming. So right now, that's a big talk. I mean, all the news outlets, all the Facebook, everybody, my neighbors, the biggest talk right now is the price of gasoline. One of my neighbors here, his business is trucking, and he's like, man, I don't know how I'm going to keep my business. It's he was already struggling, trucking business, already struggling. And now with the gas prices going up like that, it's just, and of course, with gas price increase, transportation increase, prices, everything's going to go up. You know, delivery, how are delivery trucks going to get canned goods or whatever to the grocery store? Here in the province, the one thing good going for us here, maybe keep a note that if you're moving here to the Philippines, living in the province and living in the city, we are less affected by it here in the province compared to, like, let's say if you live in Manila. Let's say you live in Cebu City, the big cities here in the Philippines. This gasoline price, this is gonna hit you hard because people that go to work in Manila, that take public transportation. There's people in Manila that I know work in Makati and they live in Laguna. They live in Bulacan. Takes them 2, sometimes 3 hours in public transportation just to go to work. Just imagine your cost of public transportation is now going to increase at a minimum, I would say 25%. And a lot of times, it's not even the price hike. When they do the price hike, a lot of times I'll guarantee you, a lot of these gasoline stations, they're price gouging. They're not even, because they know they can get away with like whatever price I know the police, I know the president, I know they've announced that they're going to be trying to be stricter, try to keep an eye on that. But how can you monitor all these gas stations all over the Philippines, here in the province? There's no way. I even noticed some of the gas stations now, they usually they advertise their price. They're proud to like advertise their price, like 56, 57, try to get your business. They're taking down their signs. They don't even have a sign. They take out their signs, and you'd have to like get to the pump and check the pump, how much it is on the pump. Maybe they're raising prices too quick. I don't know. But I'm sure, like I said, guaranteed there's some price gouging going on because they're taking advantage of the situation. Message. Lone Star, there it is. Ellen, my friend in Texas. I was just talking about how we got viewers here from Texas. How did you know gas price here in Texas jumped to $2.49 to $2.99 in just a few days in the Dallas-Fort Worth? Ooh, that's, like I said, man, I expect it to get worse here in the Philippines just because from what I'm reading, a lot of oil and gas, even liquid like that what is that, propane, even that comes from that area in the Middle East. So we're gonna be hammered here in the Philippines. But like I said, I think we're able to survive it more here in the province because when you're living in the city, you are relying, at that public transportation in the city. A lot more. They cost a lot more than public transportation here in the province. And also, you're relying on grocery stores in Manila, on the congested areas. So the grocery stores, man, they can do the same thing. They can start gouging prices on everything. Canned goods, powder milk, rice, everything. And, you got to eat. You got to eat there. Unlike here in the province, a lot of like us, we know that the situation with the gasoline, we're just gonna ride our tricycle more. Bumblebee, our tricycle. I'm not gonna be riding my car a lot now to Calibo to go grocery shopping. We're gonna do more shopping at the public market. We kind of had like a preview of this during the pandemic. We experienced this in the pandemic. We know how to tighten our belt here in the province. And also, we're not affected so much about grocery prices because we have the public market. A lot of the people around the area here, the farmers here, they take their products, their vegetables, their fruits, their seafood. We got fishermen here. Of course, fishermen on boats, I'm sure they got to raise their prices too, right? Even in the public market. But I think we're able to sustain, adjust it better in the province. We can remain eating healthy here in the province. I always think anyway that we eat a lot healthier here in the province because all our products here are a lot more fresh than people in the city. When you go to grocery shopping in the cities here, like even when I go to Iloilo City in the grocery store at Save More, those groceries. Sometimes you look at their produce, man, they're kind of looking weak, because, they even wrap it in plastic, I don't know, to protect it, I don't know, to make the fruit or vegetables last longer, but they don't look the freshest. The freshest vegetables here in the Philippines are always in the public market. When you get your potatoes and it's still got dirt on them, that's how fresh they are. It's just off the ground. They just like took that stuff off the ground, man. Southern Cal, hi Gino. That's 468 per gallon converted using today's 59 to $1 exchange rate. It's 5 gallon here in Palmdale. Oh yeah, I've always known the gasoline here in the Philippines. I've seen the prices of gasoline in the US. It's always higher here. Our gasoline here is always higher. It's like I've known that for many years. It's gasoline is not cheap here in the Philippines. That's why I have a tricycle, and now we have a motorbike. We have a Honda Click now. So between the tricycle and Honda Click, that's the transportation that we will use more now instead of our car. And even our car is like a 3-cylinder Toyota Wigo. I get awesome gas mileage on the Toyota Wigo 3-cylinder. It's like a economy car, but still, I would rather ride the tricycle. I can fill up the tricycle for like $4. I can fill it up and it can run all week. I can be going back and forth to Calibo and it'll run. Tricycles don't eat a lot of gas. Pinay Heart, diesel. Yeah, they do. They have diesel too. Same thing here. It says diesel prices here in the Philippines. Gasoline went up 11 to 13 pesos. Diesel went up 21 to 23, almost double. Diesel went up double. And then kerosene, and I'm sure people still use kerosene here. I don't know if they still use kerosene in the US. I never heard, no. But kerosene went up to 33 to 35 pesos per liter. That is just insane. I know this next weeks or months coming, it's going to be hardship for many Filipinos here. They're going to need more of that remittance. They're going to need more of that remittance from abroad, man, to survive it here in the Philippines. Here in California, I'm sure gas in Boracay. Oh, gas in Boracay, man. It will not surprise me if gas in Boracay, if it's 70 here, it's at least 85 in Boracay. It's like always 10 to 15 pesos higher in Boracay because, they always claim, well, we gotta like ferry the gasoline to Boracay. Everything in Boracay costs like 20% more than in the mainland because of shipping. They always say it's because of the shipping. Yeah, Lone Star, it's over 80. I guarantee it's over 85 now in Boracay because it's already 73 here in mainland. So they're going to tap at least another 10, 12 pesos in Boracay for sure. Howdy! All right, Daniel, our brother in Japan. He's in Japan right now. He's in Japan on his way to the Philippines. On his way. Should be another week in Tokyo, another week to enjoy Tokyo. Grateful. Oh yeah, man, that's right. You have all your, man, you were thinking smart, Daniel. All your flights are prepaid, shouldn't affect you. And that's the thing with this cost, right? It's gonna affect so much here in the Philippines. Even domestic travel is gonna get affected here in the Philippines. I expect like plane tickets here in the Philippines, domestic travel, ferry. If you got to ride the ferry, those roll on, roll off. They operate on, gas or diesel, whatever they operate, man. Everything's going to be more expensive this summer. Also, I noticed, we've been having more power outages now. Usually power outages here in the province, anyway, here in Aklan, they do happen more during the summer months. As it gets hotter here in the province, everybody starts cranking up their AC. Everybody starts using more electricity. And the power grid here just can't handle it because we're still running on like ancient power plants and grids, and you know what, they're still operating on 1960 buildings here. It's like they got still diesel or gas or run on electricity, or they haven't upgraded the system, especially here in the provinces. So I expect more power outages, especially with the oil prices going up, gas. This is how they power the electricity here. It's gonna get crazy here. I expect it to get crazy, but for me, I just go with the flow. To me, what's important is just keep calm. Don't let all the negative, don't let all that eat you up. Don't let that all eat you up, because it can, right? It can. It's like when you're already struggling, you're already struggling in life. If you're in Manila, I have my classmates I went to college with. I get messages from them all the time. They say, "Man, life here in Manila is rough, kuya. You just don't know." They're trying to survive, and you hit news like this. Man, that could be overwhelming. I know that could be overwhelming, but I just tell them, just hang in there. It's like this too will pass. Every hardship, good time, everything passes. This too shall pass. All this gas price hike, all these worries about inflation, all that. This too, the pandemic. I mean, the pandemic is so long. That pandemic seemed like it took a year, but it too passed, right? Pandemic is far in our memory now for a lot of people. Like even on the news, President Bongbong Marcos, he announced that starting Monday, starting March 9th, all government agencies under the executive department, anything that's under him, basically, they're going to go to a 4-day work week, because to limit transportation costs, because of the disruption. So even the government here. And also President Marcos also said, temporarily prohibiting to conduct unnecessary travels among government agencies, including study tour, team building activities, meetings that can be done online. So basically, President Marcos is saying, if you work for the executive department of the government here, stay where you are. If you can do it online, you can't do any traveling. You know how government people are. They have seminars, they have team building somewhere in the province, usually at a nice resort. None of that's going to happen during this. To me, I consider it a crisis. I do consider it a crisis. It's a real thing here in the Philippines. When you're talking about gas and prices like that raising that high, they're predicting 25-30% increase. That just affects so much here. When you're thinking about even like the tourism, right? It's already hard. It's already expensive to be a tourist here in the Philippines. That would even deter more people to come here. It's like people already know if you're a tourist, it's much cheaper to go to Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand than the Philippines. It's already expensive as a tourist to like travel island to island, because the islands are just not connected. Flights are not connected. So now with prices going up, that's going to discourage a lot of people from traveling to the Philippines, and even local Filipinos, man. Everybody's going to tighten up here. Everybody's going to this summer vacation, in which they bank on hard here in the Philippines, even Boracay Island. Most of their business is done during the summer. April, May. That's like the two big months in Boracay. They're all gonna take a hit. They're all gonna take a hit with this oil price. All right, let me see here. And another thing that's happening here, and it happens every year. It's nothing new to me. I see this every year here in the Philippines. Unfortunately, is there's a lot of fires that starts during this time of the year. Summer months in the Philippines, it's like fire season. It's like in the cities or the province. Boracay even have common to have fires in Boracay because we just don't have the infrastructure, the the fire department, lacking in trucks, lacking in water. Right there, I'm looking at this article. This happened in Barangay Pinyahan. Pinya is pineapple. So this Barangay Pinyahan in Quezon City, they just had a fire. They just had a fire. Over 3,000 families homeless after fire destroyed homes in Barangay Pinyahan in Quezon City. Because, if you've been to Manila, these neighborhoods in Manila, Metro Manila, is so jam-packed. I mean, there's hardly, you're like right up against everybody's houses. So if one house burns, it's almost automatic. It's going to take a few houses. And the fire department has a hard time getting through some of the streets in Metro Manila. And this is what happened here. Imagine 3,000 families are homeless because of this fire in Friday night. It happened Friday night, March the 6th. 9 p.m. And then, 9 p.m. And that people start sleeping at that time too. So just definitely prayers go out to the families. Prayers go out to the families affected by that. Because imagine living in Metro Manila, 3,000 homeless. Now you're dealing with price increases. You don't even know where you're going to get your money. It's like, it's just hard. Hey, there's Dazzle. Hey, babe. Joe Cano. Hey, Daniel. Sounds like you are starting to live your new life. Yes. I know Daniel. He's already living his best life, man. I know that because there's a Kal-El's barking. Dazzle came down here, so it's like I want to come down. Fresh potato dirt is top of my list. Right. When you know it's fresh when you're like getting a potato and it still got dirt on it, and somebody just dug it off the ground, man. Is Dazzle still renting her click? Yeah, if you're interested, Captain Ron, if you come, if you want to rent the Honda Click, Dazzle's renting it. Lone Star, too bad the bridge to Bracas was voted down. Yeah, it's really too bad that they voted the bridge down, but I don't think that's the end of it. Lone Star. I think maybe it's just a political move. Maybe I don't know, but I don't think they voted it down before, so I know it's gonna come up again. It's like San Miguel Corporation is the one pushing it. San Miguel Corporation is the company that builds bridges, roads, airports here. They're gonna build an airport in Caticlan, Boracay Airport, new terminal. So very powerful. San Miguel Corporation is very powerful. So I think eventually, they will get their way. Daniel, Jokanu, Tokyo should be must. Oh, I know, man. Japan should be. That's one country. If I had to pick a country that I've been during my military career, that I visited, that I lived at, Japan's got to be like the top because it's just so different than any country that you will go in the world. So polite, so clean, so organized. Everything's about Japan. James had a video today. Fuel prices effects. They canceled their trip. I saw that, Joke. I even made a comment on that video. I saw that earlier video. That's what's giving me a penny. I already ate, but I'll put it here. Baby. I already ate oatmeal and banana this morning, baby. Yeah, because I can't blame James for canceling that trip to Leyte just because the uncertainty with the ferries, because you don't even know if the fast crab, the ferry or whatever, even the local banca people, I remember when James and Karen, when they took their motorbike on the banca, you're not even sure if the bancas are gonna go because with fuel prices going up so high, how much are they going to charge to run their business? You know, even like I said, it's going to affect even the fishermen. You know, there's going to be less fishing that's going to be coming out of the Aklan here, the coastal because you know, some of these fishermen, they're barely getting by as it is. You know, you tell them a 25% increase in gas prices, they're gonna have to raise their prices on their goods. So we will see. It's to me, it is definitely gonna be a crisis. There's Nezo.
With bananas.
All right,
Breakfast.
all right, babe. Definitely gonna be a crisis here. I think. I can sense it. I can sense it from the government here, because not only is like the prices are going up, they're worried about the supply. Period. You know, we don't have like oil reserves, gasoline reserves, or anything like that here in the Philippines. They have it, but you know, it's really low. You know, it's like they're you know, some of the things I'm reading, they're predicting that, you know, if it doesn't straighten up in the Middle East, if that oil doesn't come here to the Philippines soon, we might be out of gasoline in like 30 days. You know, because you can imagine what kind of disaster that would be, right? For everything here in the Philippines, to be out of fuel in 30 days. That's like critical. They're critical here. But like I said, here in the province, I ain't sweating it, man. Hey, if I gotta walk to the public market and get my veggies, my fruit, my seafood, I can do that. You know, we can hunker down. We can survive a lot. We can survive a lot here in the province. I think that is one of the blessings living here in the province. We could survive. We survived the pandemic here a lot easier for us than if you're in a city and you're relying on a grocery store in the city. You know, here, when the pandemic happened here, there was people like walking in the street here or going to our gate at Camellia selling their goods, because they knew we got 300 homes here. They knew that there was people there that would be interested in buying their goods. They're bypassing the public market. They're going to the entrance of Camellia Aklan. They would like bicycle. They would like tricycle full of like stuff that they're selling. So I know not an issue for us here in the province, but I know it's a big issue if you're living in the city. My wife always tells me, don't worry about tomorrow because tomorrow will worry itself. Yeah, I'm never, you know, for me, like I said, you know, I keep advising people, when people like, you know, seem like in a panic, just keep calm, you know, everything will pass, you know, this too shall pass. Everything, all the hardships, you know, in life, it passes. I wouldn't get too stressed about it, you know. For me, it's just a time for to stay home. You know, for me and Dazzle, if it means that we got to stay home more and not travel, not go to Boracay, not go to Iloilo City, not go to Guimaras like we had planned, not a big deal. Just stay home. Hey, we'll end up saving money. We'll end up saving money just staying home. Gino, I believe one of the soldiers that died in... Yeah, I actually have that article. I have that. You know, I was going to mention that. That was one of the articles that I saw. Robert Marzan is his name. Robert Marzan, 54 years old. May his rest in peace for sure. Prayers to his family. Man, I couldn't imagine that, man. 54-year-old. He's an Army warrant officer. He was a warrant officer from Sacramento, California. He was born in the U.S., but his parents are both Filipino immigrants to the U.S. Man, I can just imagine that, you know. He's 54, so he served many years, I'm sure, in the military. Didn't even get to see retirement in the military. Gave the ultimate sacrifice. But, hey, we know that. When we sign up for the military, you know, we know that. And, oh, my other dog wants to go out. Hold on. Toto, he wanted to go out this time. So we know that, you know, it's like, and it's not just people always think, well, you're not a combat soldier, you're not in the front lines. Man, when those missiles are flying in the air and hitting the military base, you could be anywhere in the base and you can get hit with that. So you put your life on the line the minute you sign up to be in the military in the United States. We know that though. That's what we signed for. It's an all volunteer force. Sana all a 4-day work week. A 4-day, I know, right? I'm actually thinking because of this, Leanna's school, her exams is supposed to be March the 12th, this coming week, 12th and 13th, I think Thursday and Friday. I would not surprise if after that, they'll be done. I would not be surprised if they just cut school here and be done and be they had like programs and stuff like that planned after it, but they're gonna end school here in the Philippines because there'll be less kids going to school, teachers and all that. There'll be less people on the streets using gas. That will be the next step, because they always go back to like the modules or online or like a homework, with school here in the Philippines. Wow, Daniel went up in a few months. Sonia Hippo, say something about the flies. I don't know what files or files. I don't know about the files. I don't know what you're. Southern Cal Benny, Robert Marzan. Yes, Robert Marzan was killed by a drone attack. Okay, I'm just gonna put you on timeout since we don't do that in our channel. Put you on timeout. Timeout 10 minutes. There you go. This is Marzan, so I did talk about him. Michael C. Morning, bro. Happy Sunday, bro. Jesus loves you. Yes, I know Jesus loves me. Michael Manalastas. Good morning, Master Sergeant and everyone. Good morning, Michael M. from Northern California. Jokano, Cuba is dealing with no gas and other societal issues since they're. Oh yeah, I've been trying to follow what's going on with Cuba. I think they're on the radar for Trump too. I think they're next, right? They're supposed to be next too. So watch out, Cuba. Watch out, Cuba. Michael C. Good to see ya. Good to see you, the Colonel. Lucita, my good friend in Maine. Good morning. There's plenty of it. I was gonna mention that, Captain Ron, because I was thinking, well, maybe Mom and Dazzle's just gonna have to go more fishing at Lola and catch more bangus and catch more tilapia. And that's a good source for us here in the province. Howdy, Lucita. Good morning, Joe. Rest in peace. Yes, rest in peace for sure. Freedom. Nope, we know that, man. It's like I've lost some people in the military during my time. A lot of good comrades. Good for different reasons. Hey, Lowell, kumusta, Lowell? Mabuti ako, kaibigan. Mabuti ako. God bless, my brother. It trickles down. No school, less income for tricycle drivers. More, for sure. That's why, Colonel, I know, man. I know this is gonna be a crisis. I know when you're talking, 25% increase in gas prices here in the Philippines, it trickles down to everybody. I know that. Maybe start taking out the bicycle, right? People want to start riding bicycles here, man. Like I said, for me, the quick fix for me, more ride on the tricycle, our tricycle Bumblebee, and then the Honda Click. I'm gonna drive my car less. I might even pull it in the inside our. I park it on the street, but now I'll just pull it in because I know I'm not gonna be driving our car much. I'm gonna save the gas. I filled it up with gas, but I'm gonna save the gas on it, just in case for emergency that I have to go to Iloilo City or something, or to the hospital or something. I'm keeping the gas in the car, so easier for me to fill up. Easier for me to fill up on Bumblebee. I can even get some gas containers, those gas cans or gas plastic containers. When I fill up on Bumblebee next time, I'll fill up a couple of those, so I'll have backup gasoline here in the house. Outside, of course. I'll keep it outside, not inside the house. And you always have here in the province, I'm sure you've seen it, Colonel, they sell gasoline here in the province in Coke bottles. They have those 1 liter glass or some, it's glass or plastic, 1 liter Coke bottles. And they sell gasoline. They sell gasoline here. When you're driving around here in Panay Island, you'll just see it. There'll be a stand, usually a wooden stand, and they stack them there. So you can buy the gasoline per liter. Because on the motorbikes, a lot of motorbikes use those 1 gallon, 1 liter gasoline Coke bottles. Michael C., morning, Colonel. Lowell, morning, Colonel. God bless. Hi, Lowell. Beluz, all right, Beluz. Good morning, Beluz. My brother in Leyte. Lone Star. Gino, just got an update from Elna's mother. Gas in Boracay over, I believe it, man. Over 100 pesos in Boracay. That is crazy, man. It was, I mean, who's gonna afford? Man, I can imagine people living in Boracay. They don't have to start walking in Boracay, man. 100 pesos per liter. Wow. It had, like I said, it had gone down like here in the mainland. I've been so happy seeing 57 per liter, 58 per liter. You know, makes me smile because I was paying like close to 80 during the pandemic. So it dropped. Now, you know, we're going to those crazy prices again. 100 pesos per liter in Boracay. Wow. Yeah, I just think it's gonna be a trickle effect. I expect less people vacationing in Boracay this summer. And like I said, that's the peak season. That's like the Boracay businesses, mom and pop, the hotels, everybody's relying on the summer months here in the Philippines. That's gonna have a big effect on people's vacations this year. Because even for Dazzle and I, you know, when we heard about these prices, you know, we had planned on doing trips, you know, even to Iloilo City, Guimaras, maybe Bacolod, Negros, but it's not gonna happen. We're gonna postpone it because you just never know. It's better to tighten your belt, you know, save the money instead of like trying to force just a vacation. Good thing James planted all the corn. Oh yeah, James never has to worry about anything. Between his house and Nanay and Tatay up in the mountains, man, they can live months and months where they're from, and they're going hungry is not a problem, you know. They got so much, and that's the same for us here, because like for us here, a lot of like when you come out of our gated community here at Camellia, it's all farmland here. It's all rice fields. Like I said, the minute when the pandemic happened, all the people from the outside, the farmers, they were like bringing their goods here. I didn't even have to go to the public market. There was like, I remember one person on like a electron, you know, those e-bike, like it looks like a golf cart. They had all kinds of products there, vegetables, lettuce, you name it, loaded. And they were riding around here in our subdivision, and they're like selling their goods because, you know, we have 300 residents here. We have 300 homes here. You know, it's like easy for them to sell their goods here. Morning, Joe. Morning, Joe. Maybe the trike drivers will charge you a Coke bottle of gas for a tip instead of pesos. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure, Joke, it's going to be an issue. I'm pretty sure with the low supply, low reserve supply of gasoline here in the Philippines, we're going to see here the next few weeks going to be critical. We're going to see if I mean in in a couple of days time, the prices went up like 13 pesos, man. That's insane. It went from 60 to 73 in like a few days. I can't even imagine how much is this going to be like a week from now or 2 weeks from now, or when they run out. What do you do when you run out of gas, man? Morning, Belus. Morning, Belus. God bless. All right, Lowell. All right. Let me just see here. I have more. Okay, I have a topic this morning to discuss. I have that prepared, but I wanted to try to let me see here. Oh, an earthquake! There was an earthquake. I mean, it all just kind of like we're starting to have earthquakes again. I remember in 2025 there was a time in 2025 where it seemed like every week we're getting an earthquake. Last week we had the earthquake in Iloilo, and then right here it just said what's the date on this? March 7, yesterday at 10:30 p.m. in Romblon. They had another earthquake. Romblon's not far from us. From Boracay Island, actually, from Boracay Island, you can see Carabao Island, which is part of Romblon already. So they're not far from us here. They're not in Panay Island, but Romblon is a nearby island, and they had an earthquake. On top of everything that's going on, an earthquake, man. We can't get a break, man. We can't get a break. All right. Oh, okay, I got that. All right, and then here. Belus. We have plenty of foods, rice, etc. Just less travel for sure. There is enough cooking oil in the Philippines to run a year. I know that, right? I know that. Yeah, I think that's the thing, you know. For us, I feel the same way, Belus. Just less travel because, you know, it's really hard to travel without gasoline. You know, I can't drive the car. You know, it's like, and I'm not gonna take a chance and you know, I want to keep gas in the car, but I don't want to use it up because I don't want it to run out and then all of a sudden I got to line up to get gasoline or anything. So I'm going to keep using Bumblebee. And the next time I fill up on Bumblebee, I'll just buy a couple of those containers. I think they're a gallon, maybe 2 gallons of gasoline. So I have backup for Bumblebee, and then our Honda Click now, our single motorcycle. So we'll still be able to get around if we needed to. But most of the things, well, you know, we live by the beach. There's a beach nearby here, Navitas Beach. We're only 10 minutes away from the beach. We'll just start doing things like around our neighborhood, around the community here in Numancia. Fishing, we'll go fishing at Loola's Fish Farm. That's always fun for Dazzle and Mom. All right. Okay, I did see this. One, I wanted to share this. It's new actually. I follow different groups, and this is one group that I follow. It talks about different things happening here in the Philippines, and one of the things that they're talking research is pollution affecting our mental health. And the research says yes. And I can totally agree with that, right? Because for me, you know, I could see if I lived in a city, like let's say I lived in Metro Manila, there's just so much pollution in Metro Manila. Noise pollution, the smoke pollution, you know, the smog, you know, traffic, you know, just so much pollution that it's just stressful. You know, I could see people in Manila, like I said, my classmates and I, when I talk to them, they say, man, they miss Aklan. You know, they always tell me, Kuya, we just miss Aklan so much. You know, it's like, but they know they have to work in Manila. The work is there. And even here, what the research even shows that people living air pollution and suicide risk even Pollutants are common in traffic-heavy cities like Metro Manila. And we know that, if you've never been to Manila, if you go to EDSA in Manila, the big buses, jeepneys, they got jeepneys, they just belch out like black smoke, and there's just so many of them that it just oversaturates the air. If you got asthma, anything like that, anything pulmonary, stay away from Metro Manila. It's not going to be good for your health. Not going to be. And imagine being exposed to that. Like my classmates tell me all the time, it's just so stressful. That becomes so stressful every day. Public transportation, dealing with like the crowded public transportation, falling in line. It could be raining, you have to have an umbrella. It could be sunny, you have to have an umbrella. It could be flooding, you're walking in flood water, man. It's just, there's so much, and I can see how it could relate to like suicide risk, especially for younger people. Normally us older people, we've been through a lot in our life. We can tolerate a lot more than the younger people, but that happens. To young people, they might come from the province where we have good air, we breathe clean air here, no traffic, everything's green, you got fresh air, fresh seafood, fresh beaches. All of a sudden, you graduate college and you're in Manila. You're in the concrete jungle. All of a sudden you can't find a tree. All of a sudden you're pollution. I can imagine. The stress and the trauma that people are experiencing. And it even talks here in the articles. It says climate anxiety among Filipino youth. The Philippines consistently ranks among the countries with the highest climate anxiety among young people. Frequent typhoons and flooding, constant exposure to climate news on social media, fear about future livelihoods, and environmental stability. The one thing that I know that the younger people, I see from when I talk to my classmates, it's just hard for them to get through a lot of times because they're hanging on to their job. It's like they put up with so much in the work. It's not the same dynamic in the U.S. Like when I worked in the U.S., people work a job, right? And while you're working a job, you're looking for another job, right? The constant search for a better job never ends for a lot of people in the U.S. A lot of people I know, it's like they're always looking for a better job, higher paying job. Here in the Philippines, if you got a job, you're just hanging on to that job for dear life. You're tolerating abuse from your supervisors, not good conditions. You're putting up with a lot because if you lose that job, it's going to be hard to find another job. Yeah, there's like the job that you're holding, there's like 5 or 10 people be happy to do the job that you're doing. So it's just a different dynamic. So if I just can imagine the stress that people go through because of that. It says here, pollution affects the brain. And I agree with that, man, because I know when I'm walking here in a community in the morning and all I can hear is like the birds. I'm breathing fresh air. I'm watching the sunrise. When I'm in Boracay, when I'm walking the beach of Boracay, I just know my whole being, my whole self is just like, I'm just in a better mood, better everything. I can't imagine if I have to walk through have to get public transportation in Metro Manila or just trying to find a spot in Metro Manila where a park or something that's quiet. It's like even if you go to Rizal Park, there's so many people. There's people on bicycles. There's performers. I mean, it's just hard to find like a quiet, peaceful area there. So I can imagine how that affects your brain. That's got to stress your brain when you're always but what are you gonna do? It is what it is for a lot of people. That's why I always say, man, life here in the Philippines is just hard for many people. That's why when you come here, when you're retired, man, just be so grateful. Be thankful for your life because you will see it anyway. Like for me, when you come here, you will see like hardships that Filipino go through here. The list of buy great opportunity with people extra income. If country hurting, people will need monies, open up land sales, etc. Oh yeah, for sure, right? That happens. That happens here. Brian, hey Brian, good morning to you and Dazzle. All right, Brian. Louisiana had an earthquake too the other day. Oh wow. I don't think I ever experienced that. I lived in Louisiana for a few years. I didn't experience earthquake in Louisiana. Here, PBT. Hey, PBT from Jokano. Hey, Thelma, my friend in the outback, and Dean, my in the outback of Australia. Good morning, Gino. Good morning, everyone. Greetings, beautiful outback. Yeah, outback, Southwest Queensland. All right, Thelma and Dean. Hello, my brother. All right. I think I've covered all the news item that I'm going to cover. So now I'll get to my topic. I'll get to my topic now. All right. My topic this morning, I came up with a topic. I was just thinking, I'm always thinking of topics because I know people, at least we have a topic to discuss. And welcome to like input from people, what they think about the topic. For me, the topic today is Philippines is not the cure. I thought about this topic. For some people, it kind of works both ways. Philippines is not the cure, but it can also be the cure for some people. It's like, but from what I've seen, if you're unhappy in the place where you're living currently, and you're thinking, oh, I'm moving to the Philippines, and you're thinking that the Philippines, just by moving here, will cure the unhappiness in your life. I think that's not a good way of thinking coming to the Philippines. That the people that I've seen that are successful when they move here to the Philippines, they just come here with a good attitude. They're not carrying all that baggage that they have from their life, wherever country they come from. If they're carrying some baggage from that life, they come here just like open, open to anything, start fresh, renew their life. Perfect example is like JP. I'm going to use JP as an example. I've talked to JP many months, of course, communicating online. But the first day I met JP, when I picked him up at Katiklan Airport, I just knew instantly JP's going to be happy here. Because he just had that look. He just had that excitement. The first thing he said, I remember he said something about the first step for the Panay Posse of mankind, or something like that, when he landed in Katiglan Airport, when I picked him up at Boracay Airport. Yeah, I just knew. And then sitting in the car, I was like driving him. We went to the Tangalan view deck, took pictures. I just could see. I knew he was coming here with the right attitude, because he was coming here with excitement. He didn't go online or anything like that to meet a Filipino before he come here. He was coming here. He chose Calibo. He chose this area because from what he's seen in our videos, he liked the area from what he's seen. I knew when he came here, he was going to be successful here. And of course, a lot of people, kind of equates success when they come here to the Philippines is when they meet the right Filipina. For most of us, that's what happens. You come here, maybe spend a few months, years, or whatever. But when you find the right Filipina, your life just changes for the good. Everything is like I said, you meet that right Filipina, life is good. Life is good. You know, it's like, but it doesn't happen, right? It doesn't happen to everybody because also that there's a negative, you know, there's that ones that meet the wrong Filipina, unfortunately. That's why I always say that's the biggest decision that you'll ever make, you know, is finding the right Filipina here. Jokano, good day, Thelma and Dean. Good day, Thelma and Dean. All right. Good morning, brother. Good morning, Virgino. Dino, right? Dino. All right. Captain Ron, we might all be riding bicycles. Hey, man, you know, it's like, I don't have, you know, I got the portable one, the foldable bike, man. I'll be riding. I can ride that to the public market. That's not an issue for me, man. Bizwax, got to go. Have a great day, Bizwax. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you. The only baggage I'm bringing to PH is a suitcase and a golf bag. All right, all right, Brian. But when I say baggage, you know, there's just people that come here. You know, I think even before they get here, I think they're you know they're not in a good situation. You know, it's like they put themselves, you know. The first thing I can think of is that there's always guys, and I'm not knocking it. You know, we're all, you know, we're all different. We're all looking for different things, right? It's not like I'm not trying to knock them, but I think if you're looking for a good life in the Philippines, going to Angeles City as your first stop, I don't think that's a good stop. You know, it's like because you know, long-term wise, especially if you decide to come to the Philippines, to retire here in the Philippines long-term, right? I think most of guys that come here single, your objective is going to be finding the right Filipina, the traditional Filipina, that's going to be honest to you, loyal to you, that's going to treat you good and take care of you. The guys going to Angeles City, that's going to be tough meeting a Filipina like that in the bars, in the walking street, red light district of Angeles City. But I understand, hey, guys are gonna be guys, right? Some guys just like that. Some guys end up in those places because that's what they enjoy to do. They enjoy being surrounded by go-go dancers, drinking alcohol all the time. But I just think, you know, you're setting yourself up for failure when you start out at areas like that. Just my opinion. Like I said, you know, everybody's entitled to their own life. I'm not trying to tell people how to live their life. My Filipina definitely changed my life. 7 years later, and I love her more ever. I feel the same way, man, with Dazzle. Next month is Dazzle and I's 10 years wedding anniversary. We've been married 10 years. And it still feels like a honeymoon for me every day. Every day, Dazzle puts a smile to my face. The way she treats me, the respect, I'm just blessed. And that's what I'm saying, you know. You meet the right Filipina here in the Philippines, man, your life's going to be so good. You know, that's why take your time. Take your time when you're trying to meet that right Filipina. Don't get in a rush. Don't get in a rush in marriage. Don't get in a rush to doing everything, you know. Take your time. Get to know that Filipina. Get to know her family for sure. Big part of it is knowing her family. Like, look at me, man. My mother-in-law lives with me. That's how good my mother-in-law is. You know, why would I let my mother-in-law live with me if she's a terrible person? But she's an awesome person. Leanna, Dazzle's sister, she's great. You know, so they bring a lot of happiness to my life. Hey, Gino. Safely. All right. Good to hear, Joel. Joel was here in the Philippines. He always comes here January for a titihan. He had stayed here till March. You know, I just saw him, I think a week ago, and then he finally made it back to Arizona. See you next year. Joel. See you next year. Thelma. Good day, mate. Jukanu. Belus, maybe land and condo prices will continue to come down in the Philippines. Captain, you'll always, you know, like Belus is saying, you'll always find people here that get desperate. You know, land and condos. There's all mostly land here in the province of Aklan anyway. I always see people get into a bind here. A lot of times it's not even a crisis like this. A lot of times it's an illness in the family and they're selling their land. They need the money right now for surgery. They need the money now for cancer treatments. Is what happens. So there's always opportunity, but you just got to stay patient. You got to stay patient. You can't jump on like if it's too good. If it looks too good, be careful. Be careful if the deal looks too good. Environmental issues in your life can improve by moving, but emotional, addiction, personality issues just travel you and may become worse due to. Yes, and I was going to point that out. Thank you, Joe Cano, because that's part of my notes. I have notes here that I can't remember all this, in my head, so I have to put notes. Same thing, if you get into a bad relationship here in the Philippines, that's why I say it's so important to select the right Filipina, because you get in a bad situation here, a lot of times expats have a hard time of getting out of it, for different reasons. I've seen different reasons, it's not easier. In the U.S., you can pretty much say, hey, and it's not working out. Hey, thank you for your, you could, here in the Philippines, I see expats struggle with that. The time when if it's not working out, breaking up. I don't know what the reason is, but I see many couples here, Filipina and the expat, just stay together for not the right reasons, and you can tell they're not happy together because you see, right, when they're not even holding hands, there's no love, there's no sweetness, so why are they even together? But that's relationship. I do understand relationships can be tough. But for me, a lot of the bad relationships, that I see, a lot of it is like self-inflicted. And I say that because, you really, as the foreigner, when you come here, when you meet, when you're like gauging the scenery, trying to decide on a Filipina, it is your choice, That's why I said a lot of people, I think, make the mistake of rushing too quick into a relationship. And then once you date here, man, everything's on hyper speed here. Once you if you ask a Filipina out on one date even here, the relationships here go fast. In a week's time, they're moving in together. In a week's time, I love you is being said. It's just like you will see it when you come to the Philippines. I've just never seen anything dynamic like that here. Filipinas are quick to get attached to you and then start owning you, start thinking that they own you, practically own you. Like you can't go out with any other women, kind of thing. In the U.S., if you ain't got a ring on it, right? You're good. You can still date women. It's like unless you put a ring on it, you don't own anybody, or you don't never own anybody anyway. But I know what I hope you're getting what I'm saying. Here in the Philippines, it doesn't even. The minute you date a Filipina here, chances are you're not going to be able to date another one because. They just don't go for that here. It's you're gonna get a bad reputation, Another thing that oftentimes I see with foreigners here, and they bring it here. If you have an alcohol problem, if alcohol is an issue with you in the U.S., if you're a heavy drinker in the U.S., I don't think the Philippines is for you, because the Philippines. If you're a heavy drinker and you like your alcohol, it's gonna intensify here in the Philippines. One of the top things that people do here in the Philippines is drink. They love drinking alcohol here. You can drink alcohol here during the day, afternoon, it doesn't matter. People are not gonna care. In the U.S., at least, there's kind of like, what's that? Don't drink before noon. Don't drink before noontime. But here in the Philippines, you see people here drinking everywhere. I can go walk out like at 7-Eleven. That's 7-Eleven right across from our Camila Clan. If I go there at 6 p.m. at night, guarantee you, few people drinking there. Red Horse, liquor, bottles of liquor, they're drinking right outside 7-Eleven. Sari-sari stores. You go to any sari-sari store. It could be in the afternoon. It could be 1 p.m. and somebody sitting on a bench, one of those bench drinking a Red Horse. That's just a thing here. So people love to drink here. So if you have a drinking problem before you even come here in the Philippines, I don't think the Philippines is a good idea because it will intensify here. Especially if you go to places like Angeles City or even Dumaguete City. If you go to places like that, man, people, you got a lot of expats there drinking, it's going to encourage you to drink more, unfortunately. Same thing in Boracay. If you're an expat and you like to drink and you're trying, I had a friend actually, he hasn't gone on the live stream in a while, but he used to call me Manoy. He called me Manoy and I called him Manoy too. He knew he had a drinking problem. He's on Alcohol Anonymous, those meetings. And the first thing he asked me before he came here, Gino, is there like Alcoholics Anonymous meetings here? And there are Alcohol Anonymous meetings here. So at least he recognized that, right? That before he came here, I need that support for people to avoid alcohol here. But if you have an alcohol problem in the U.S., man, Philippines is not for you, man. Filipinos love to drink, man. Parties here, fiestas, hati-hatihan, everything's about drinking here. So it's not going to be a good environment for you if you come here, if you're an alcoholic and trying to quit or trying to stay away from alcohol. This is not the place. This is not the place to go. Belus, yes, yeah, for sure. Belus, yes. Unfortunately, with country hurting, people, big cities will turn to. So true, right? So true, Belus. People get desperate, especially in the cities. Crime is high in the big cities here anyway. It's like that's gonna be that's I didn't even think about that, Belus. Good point there, my brother. The key to any good relationship is time. Take your time. Yeah, Alan. That's always been the advice to people, man. But Alan, I don't know what it is. But relationships here in the Philippines, what I've seen here, they just go on hyper speed, man. They go on hyper speed. The foreigner gets here to the Philippines, meet a Filipina. Man, next thing you know, they're like getting married, it just goes fast, They don't give themselves time to really get to know, date the Filipina for a long time and get to know the Filipina's family before. That's how they end up with they feel like they become a walking ATM. They start supporting the rest of the Filipina's family because you should know that before, right? If you're dating a Filipina, you should be keeping an eye on things like that. Go to the parents' house. Go see the brothers, the siblings. See how they're acting. Are they going to college? Do they have future? Things like that. If you're seeing that, it's not good, then maybe that's not the Filipina that you want to marry, But then, people are so quick. People are always rushing here. And they get into that situation and they go, I didn't see that coming. Well, you should have taken your time. Trust and love is built over time, for sure. I totally agree with that, Alan. Alan, yes, you're 100%. But trust me, when you come here, you just see so many people makes, like I said, a lot of foreigners here that fail. To me, I often see it self-inflicted. They just didn't make good decisions. They made bad decisions. Had to switch to my primary account. I'm low. Oh, no worries. Thank you, though. Appreciate that, Alan. Appreciate that, man. Man, you're too much, man. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Find any karaoke machine. Liquor. LOL. I know, right? And it's like, Man, and that's the thing here too, right? If times get hard here in the Philippines, if money is tight, if there's a crisis, pandemic, whatever, right? People start drinking here. Everything, the solution for everything in the Philippines is drinking, unfortunately, man. I don't drink anymore, so, that's never my solution. But for many people, the harder it gets, the harder life gets, the more drinking. The more drinking, unfortunately. Fortune. Hey, Fortune! My brother in Bacoor, in Cavite. The Panay Pasi. Thank you, Fortune. Our AA meeting held at rest bars in the Philippines. Jokano. A lot of times the AA meeting, different location. A lot of times the church organization sponsor AA meetings here. I didn't know it until Manoy, until Manoy, because I never got the question. I never got the question before where are there AA meetings here in the Philippines, and I found out from Manoy that there is. I guess it makes sense, right? Because not only foreigners, expats, there's Filipinos, I'm sure that that come to the realization that they're alcoholics, so that they need help. Good AM, Southern Cal, Benny. Pinahart, Daniel, Joe, Captain Ron, Fortune, good morning, Biz, Michael C, Michael M, Sita, Fortune, all right, okay, PBT Travel, I like that, Joel, all right. And then, what a lot of times, about, I see it with the bad relationships, I see it here in my neighborhood, I'm not going to name any names, so I don't want to get in trouble, but unfortunately, the people that drink too much, they're not the nicest people a lot of times when they get drunk. It's almost like a different person. And they become abusive, right? They become abusive. I've even seen them where, of course, a lot of times, the Filipinas here in the Philippines, they get put in that situation where they have an AFAM, they have a foreigner, and they can't get away. They can't get out of it, because for many Filipinas here, unfortunately, even the fact that when a Filipina dates the AFAM or dates a foreigner, that's for a lot of Filipinas. That's a big step. That's a big step for a lot of Filipinas, especially here in the provinces, because there's a lot, still reserved, traditional. So that's already a big, and then Filipinos are I don't know if I could, they're just built different. The minute a Filipino knows that a Filipina dates a foreigner or dates an AFAM, Filipinos, like the single Filipinos, and they find out, the Filipina, she dated a foreigner. A lot of times they think, they think she's less now. I'm not gonna date her because she dated a foreigner. I don't know, understand that. I don't understand that, but I see that dynamic here, especially if they have the things here that Filipinos are weird about is like when a Filipina's a single mom, where the Filipina's a single mom here gets pregnant, didn't get married, single mom, and then where the Filipina dates a foreigner. A lot of the Filipinos here, seem like they feel like the Filipinas tainted. I've just seen that dynamic. Not all, of course, not all Filipinos, but I do know that Filipinos, man, they're picky. They're picky here when women that they date here. Beluz, Master Fortune. Hi, Kuya Fortune. Okay, I covered that. Drinking, I covered that. Seeing many expats. Yeah, like I said, Angeles City, if you're a drinker, that's the worst place for you to go. It's like I've known people that in Angeles City that their cause of death is alcohol from hitting the bars too much in Angeles City, and just like they drink themselves basically to death. That happened. I had a supervisor when I worked at in Clark 13th Air Force Medical Center. I remember him. He was a tech sergeant. He just drank himself to death. when we were stationed there. You know, he was like early 40s, and he was just drinking heavily, and that's what happened to him. He died. He died because he drank too much. And many do that in Angeles City. You'll see it. You'll see it. You know, their life is hanging out in the bars in Angeles City, and their life is all day long just drinking all day long. And to me, you know, that's not life to me. That's that would not be the life. And then the Filipinas, a lot of times when they get into a bad relationship here with the expat, you know, a lot of them stay. You know, they will tolerate so much and stay just because they feel like, you know, they don't have a way out. You know, a lot of times I've known Filipinas here where their family kind of disowned them because they're going out with a foreigner, because that dynamic also exists. You know, most of the time, Filipinos, if their daughters dating on a farm, they're happy. But there are some that, you know, maybe it's a situation where the foreigner doesn't want to help the family, so the family's against the farm or against the foreigner. That situation. So, you know, a lot of times the Filipina will give up her family and go with the foreigner. So she's kind of like in that relationship where, you know, I don't have a place to go. If the foreigner kicks me out, my parents aren't going to take me, you know, that kind of situation. I've seen that. I've seen some Filipinas hang on to their abusive foreigner because they got kids, you know, might not even be the foreigner's kids. They, you know, they're a single mom. They're bringing in kids to the relationship. They hook up with the foreigner. The foreigner's providing financial support to the Filipina and the kids. And no matter how abusive the foreigner is, the Filipina's staying because that's their life. You know, she doesn't have a job. You know, she's relying on the foreigner. So I see that dynamic often, actually. Unfortunately, I see that dynamic here. If you see a Pinay walking 20 yards ahead of her man all the time, you know I know, right? I see that. I see that, Belus. I see that at the grocery store. You know, when Denzel and I, we're pushing the cart together, we're holding hands. Hey, babe, let's get that. You see, a lot of times, like the foreigner, you could see, like, not interested at all. The wife is like down there shopping. You know, it's like you can tell he's like torture or something. You know, it's like they are embarrassed to be seen with the foreigners. Hey, I see that. Belize. Pinahard, buckle up. Cali prices going up, already crazy. That sounds kind of sad. Hopefully she loves him and it's not just something like he needs to put deodorant or something. At Belus, we are making sure the vehicles are fueled and we'll be filling some spare. Yeah, that's what I'm planning. I'm planning that today. I loaded up on the tricycle, the motorbike, the car. I'll pull in the car here. I'm not going to use the car as much. And then I'll buy a couple of gallons, plastic containers. And we're not, you know, I'll get some extra gas for a bumblebee. But we should be okay. Just preventive, just in case, just be ready for future. If it gets worse, if it gets worse here. Another thing that I just noticed this, you know, and for sure I know for some of the foreigners that come here, I'm pretty sure they had this issue before they came here to the Philippines, and it's not the Philippines caused the issue. If you got anger issues, if you're one of those guys in the U.S. that have road rage, man, the Philippines ain't gonna be for you, man. If you're road raging in the U.S., you're gonna freak out in the Philippines, right? There is not enough white sand beaches, beautiful Filipinas, or mango shakes that will calm you down here when you're in the Philippines, when you have to drive here or deal with the traffic here. So if you got anger issues, maybe the Philippines, you know, maybe not consider the Philippines. Maybe it's not going to be for it because they come here to the Philippines. I know we've all experienced where going to like an expat bar here in the Philippines. Next thing you know, there's always that one expat ready to fight people. Maybe alcohol, I'm sure, is involved, but still, man, you're in a tropical. I've even seen it in Boracay Island, and you're in a tropical island, white sand beaches. You're having margaritas, you're pina coladas, sunsets, and you're fighting over nonsense. So if you got anger issues, man, maybe you need to cure that before you come to the Philippines. Don't think that because of the white sand beaches, because of the beautiful women, because of the mango shakes, that will cure your anger management issues in the Philippines. It's not. If anything, it will intensify your anger management issues because if you have road rage in the U.S., like I said, I don't know how you would deal with the traffic here in the Philippines. I don't know how you could drive here. If you get mad at people cutting you off in the U.S. in the highway or freeway or a simple cut, in front of you, cutting your lane. Man, in the Philippines here, people cutting left, right, motorbikes coming from everywhere here. I don't know how you would survive it here if you have like road rage or anger management issues. Belus, thank you, James and Gino. Crew are in town right now buying extra diesel. We just loaded up Thursday in double groceries. They actually canceled the boat to Pulumpun. Did not know why. Now we know. Oh yeah. I expect the ferries aren't gonna be, because it's not gonna be profitable for them. It's not gonna be profitable, Belus, everybody's gonna tighten up here. Everybody's gonna not travel for sure. With gas prices, oil, fuel going up that high, they're gonna pass it to the passengers. And passengers here already are struggling with the cost of public transportation here, man. So this is gonna be a difficult time, especially during the summer, man. The thing I'm worried the most here in the summer, man, it gets hot here in the Philippines during the summer. There are evenings here in the summertime where I gotta have AC, man. I'm not gonna be able to maybe fans, maybe rechargeable fans with my Blue Yeti. Maybe I'll start planning. But during the summer months here, even at nighttime, it gets up to the 80s, and it's just hot. No breeze. When there's no breeze, it's unbearably hot here during the summer. And why I say I worry about it, because less fuel, less oil here means there's going to be more power outages here. There's already more power outages here during the summer months because everybody using their AC. But if they don't have the oil, diesel, gasoline to power all this electricity here in the Philippines, man, this summer is going to be brutal. This summer is going to be brutal. Oh, there's Leanna. Hey, Leanna. There's Leanna. Now we know, Belize. Now we know. And what I notice a lot of times too is the foreigners the ones that always seem to complain about everything. We all met them. They're here. Unfortunately, they're here in the Philippines. The one that always complains about everything here in the Philippines are usually the ones in the bad relationship. Because for us that are in good relationships, me, Dazzle, James, Karen, it's like Belus, the ones that we are in good relationship, we don't stress about the little stuff. Man, when you're getting along with your partner, when you're happy, you're kidding around, when you're laughing, you're enjoying life, everything in life is small. You're just thankful that you found somebody, your soulmate, that you're happy to spend your day to day. Every day we get to do something different. Every day there's always something funny. But when you're in a bad relationship, those are the ones, unfortunately, those are the ones that dang, there's so many roosters here in the Philippines. There's so many stray dogs. There's trash everywhere. Why can't Filipinos learn how to pick up their trash? How come they're trashing the beaches, trashing everything, nonstop? That you can always tell when somebody's like that. You can always tell. Maybe things aren't going well at the homestead. maybe things aren't going on the homestead because usually that's what I see. That's what I see. People in bad relationships, they just give that bad aura, the bad karma aura. The ones that are in good relationships here in the Philippines, man, we are just so thankful we met someone that we can spend every day with, be smiling, be happy, excited to do things together, hold hands at the mall. You can tell. You can tell. Like I said, your biggest decision, man, find that right Filipina. Find that right Filipina. Yeah, when you meet that right Filipina, it's a wonderful life. Oh, there's Dazzle.
Look what I
Bring
did
it
to
down.
Kala.
What did you do with Kala? Let's see. Let's see. Show them. Oh, Dazzle put. Man, he's a boy, babe. Why you putting that thing on? What is that? Like a rubber band?
Yeah.
Rubber band? Oh, my buddy. What is your mama doing to you, buddy? What's your mama doing to you, buddy? What's your mama doing to you?
Cute.
Is he good? Oh, it's dry outside now.
Let's try now.
Still a little bit. Oh, I think your mom was doing laundry now. It was dry. It's dry on that side.
Let's go. Let's play. Okay ba, gang? Kit. Huwag mo hawakan kasi hindi ko tinay.
Diyan.
Si Mama asan?
Belus, thank you so much, Toad Crew. We save all rice harvest for the valley. Yeah, man. Like us, man, we're tightening up our belts here. We're prepared. It's like we got a lot of stock of food, a lot of stock of rice, gasoline. So we're not going to be doing a lot of traveling. We're just going to stay home, hunker down, and see how it goes. Maybe a week or two, see how things go here in the province. People acting like that seem like they don't understand they are living in a different country and having cultural awareness. Starting bar fights sounds like a really bad idea for a foreigner. Oh yeah, but it happens. It happens. Unfortunately, it happens a lot on expat bars. When you go to expat bars here, alcohol I'm sure has a lot to do with it. People will start elevating their voices, let alone they start discussing politics. Forget that. Next thing you know, it's like somebody's like saying offensive words. I have extra dogs. If someone needs, I know we don't need. I got two, man. I got Aspen, the local dog. Toto is like 10 years old now, and then Kal-El is our new baby. So we have enough dogs. We have enough dogs. We live in a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, man. We don't have space for any more dogs. I think we're only allowed 2 anyway. Here in our community, each house is only allowed to have 2 dogs. You can't have more than 2 dogs. I know, right, Belus? We know it. I know it. Belus knows it. James knows it, man. When you meet the right Filipina, man, life is good. It can't get any better. You got somebody that you trust, that's loyal, that's going to treat you good every day, take good care of you, man. What more can we ask? What more can we ask, brother? Maybe having a hard time finding a good wife when those bar fights starting there. Yeah, and for me, like I said, it's to me, if you're looking for long-term traditional Filipina, the bars are probably the place to look for them. To me, just my opinion. If you want a Filipina like the wife material, I don't think the bars is a good place to find one. Amen to the bad relationship causes bad attitudes. Over the years, I experienced a lot of issues at work and poor job satisfaction. After we split up, I realized marriage stress had a lot. Yeah, it's like you just see it. You see it. When a person's in a bad relationship here in the Philippines, you can just tell. It's hard to hide it. It's hard to hide it, the person brings it, brings that bad aura. You're like, when you hang out with person and you can tell there's something off. There's just not that happiness with that person. Joking about dogs. Bilis. We have to move half to the farm. All right, I know. But Denzel and I, man, we're both dog lovers. So I've always had a dog most of my life. So Lowell, I have had plenty of people try and start a bar fight with me, but I never been in a bar fight in my life. I never give up my control as a man. Yeah, right. It's like I've never put myself in that situation. It's not that bars was never a big part of my life anyway. All right. So Leanna's getting ready here. Where are you guys headed? Where are you guys?
Church.
Church. You're going to church. So later today. That's why I was wondering. I usually take you guys at 6 a.m. So today's a later church time.
The schedule change.
The schedule change. All right. Hey, maybe it's about the gas. I don't know. Maybe it's about the gas. Even church changed their schedule. Belize, to me, it's stupid. There are amazing women here. Walk away. I know, right? And usually it is, right? Belize, it's usually the bar fights. If it's not political, usually political discussion, and usually it's about a woman. Usually the fights here seem to be all about a woman. Yeah, like you said, there's plenty, and no need to argue over one. All right, I got to the bottom here, and that was my main topic today. I finished the Philippines is not the cure. It can be. I've seen people, but I again, you have to come here with the right attitude. I like how when I met JP, I like the attitude that JP brought here. He wasn't so eager to meet a Filipina. He wanted to get settled, but he got settled quick. He found his place. He got his motorbike. The Filipina came. So I think he just had and then just the vibe. You could tell JP was a happy person. So I knew he was gonna meet a good Filipina here. Because I think that's what happens too. If you're a good person, and I've said this many times. If you're a good person and you have good intentions, you're looking for a traditional Filipina, you're looking long-term relationship, yeah, you will attract that. Because people can sense that. But when you come here and your landing spot is Angela City and you're hitting all the strip bars in Angela City and hanging out in the strip clubs in Angela City, I don't think I don't think finding a good Filipina is going to be in your cards, right? Because you're going to build that reputation. Oh, he's a player. He's just out here having fun. Nothing wrong with it. Like I said, you're single. You're entitled to do that kind of stuff. But if you go to places in Dumaguete City, I know guys that go to Dumaguete City, they date several women. It's just, eventually it's going to catch up to you, I think. Now, if that's your thing, if you enjoy that, nothing wrong with it. Like I said, you're single, you're adult, consenting adults, you can have fun, But I think in the end, that gets old after a while. I experienced a little bit of that when I was in my early 20s, right? But man, these guys are in their 50s and 60s already, man. I don't know how you could do it at that, But hey, we're all different, right? We're all different. Seattle, Washington. Good afternoon, bro Gino. It's a sunny afternoon here. Sunny morning here. Look at the sun here. It's bright and sunny. How's Kelly? Oh, how did she get wet?
Natumba siya sa tubig.
Make sure you dry him, babe.
Papaliguan ko.
Oh, you're gonna give him a bath? All right. So that's just gonna give Kal-El a bath because he played in the water outside. So time for a bath. Time for a bath for Kal-El. Kal-El just loves going outside in the sun and running around in our yard.
Natumba siya dun.
Cool Boracay. Yeah, cool. Thank you. I love this Boracay t-shirt, man. Where is the best place to find a local Filipina lady in Aklan, Iloilo City, or even in Manila? In Manila, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know in Manila because I haven't spent many times in Manila anymore. Um, it just depends what you're looking for when you're saying a local Filipina lady. Um, in the city, in Iloilo City, a lot of people there are still working, right? A lot in Iloilo City, a lot of call center people, working food service, the mall. Um, People are busy. People are busy working there. Here in Aklan Province, if you come to Aklan Province, like I always say, the best place to meet women here, I think, my opinion, if you're looking for something wife material long term, is church. You know, and you don't have to be belonging to that woman's church. You can just show interest in whatever Christian. I mean, there's so many denominations here. There's Catholics, Protestants, Baptists, Jehovah, you name it, LDS. There's so many groups here that church is a good place to meet good Filipinas, I think. If I was looking, that would be my choice. Castaway Drip, good morning, Castaway Drip. Michael S., the Duke of Duma, according to fortune. Good morning, my brother from another. I always say join groups of activities: boating, fishing, swimming, sports, hiking, birds. Yeah, and the reason I say church, because a lot of times the Christian organizations here, Christian church, they have a lot of get-togethers. They set up picnics. They have singles picnics kind of thing where, there's going to be single women there. And a lot of times, if you're Christian, or like I said, you don't even really have to belong to that religion, just try it. Just go see it, because a lot of people, especially if you're a foreigner, they like that anyway. Like if you show up at their service somewhere, you're gonna attract attention anyway. A lot of times the pastor, the minister, or whatever is gonna come, hey sir, where are you from? It's like, and they'll ask you why you're interested, and just say, hey man, I'm just checking out your church. I'm checking out your organization. See what it can offer me, and then eyeballs are on you, man. Eyeballs are on you. Filipina eyeballs are on you. Yeah, Belus has a great example, great suggestion. Like, do activities that you like, That way, you're gonna meet a Filipina that already likes the same activity. Go camping. Go camping here. Hiking. If you're into hiking, camping, many Filipinos here are into hiking and camping. So if that's an activity that you like, there's a group in Ilo called the Iloilo Trekkers. Aklan Trekkers is the same way. They go hiking all the time at different mountains here and go camping in the mountains. There's single Filipinas in there, man. And even if there's married Filipinas there, I'm sure they're gonna know single people that they can introduce you with. Like I said, find activities like Beluz is saying that you enjoy. Pickleball. If you like pickleball, man, go to the pickleball courts. There's single women in there, man. But not the bars. Not the bars. Stay away from the bars, man. You don't want that kind of women anyway. Yes, church is a very good place to meet a good Filipina. Yeah, because they got values. There's a reason why they're going to church, right? Like Leanna here, she's 12 and she's been going to church all her life. When she's 18, when she becomes single, ready to date, she's gonna be a catch because she's been going to church all her life, man. Fortune, good AM, Mike S., the Duke of Duma. Good morning, Master Fortune. Yes, Gino, and it's long term because you're compatible. Even as busy as this country, as they find time for activity, always, especially church. And then, I know not everybody's religious, I know that, but I think church kind of bonds people, especially if you're looking for a long-term relationship. You kind of want somebody that believes the same thing that you believe, right? It's like, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think you can't go wrong if you meet someone in church. church people. Church people are good people, man. All right. I'm done. I'm done with all the topics. And Khalil's going to take a bath, so I'm going to help with Khalil bath. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining the live stream. I appreciate everybody's time. Take care. God bless. And everyone, stay blessed. Stay blessed.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. God, Leanne, they can see you. They can see your hand, Leanne. They can see your hand. Castaway, always new pickleball courts being built. I know pickleball, same here, man, in Calibo. Pickleball is getting so popular. I'm sure there are gonna be single women there for the guys that are looking for, at least they're active, right? At least they're exercising. I enjoy, yeah, we love pickleball, man. Bye, all right, stay blessed, Joe Canoe. God bless all, bye-bye, brother.